Today on the show, we have Mario Tirabassi from the CHGO podcast to talk about the Rockford Ice Hogs. Welcome to the Griffins Pipeline Podcast.
Welcome back to the Griffins Pipeline Podcast. We are a podcast brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network. We are sponsored by DraftKings, and I'm one of your hosts, Connor.
I'm your other host, Kyle. We're a show brought to you by the fans for the fans. We're not officially partnered with the Detroit Red Wings or Grand Rapids Griffins. We're a show brought to you as season ticket members, just really interested in hockey and how it goes along, specifically the AHL. We love branching out and talking to people around the AHL and people that have had other journeys than just NHL topics. So today on the show, we are reaching out to Mario Tirabassi, who covers the Chicago Blackhawks and the Rockford Ice Hogs through his podcast, the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. So we're going to dive right into that show. We'll get right to it with Mario.
The jaw-dropping moments that make hockey, hockey. Experience them all with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Missouri listeners, listen up. DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in the Show Me State. New customers, this one is for you. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into 200 bonus bucks if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-3669. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. Pass-through of per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see pkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright NHL 2025. All rights reserved.
So today on our show, we got special guest Mario Tirabassi, and he is the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, this admittedly is our second attempt trying to record this. We kind of took Mario's time once, and he was good enough of a guy to get back on here and give us another run to try to get a second clip. So appreciate you trying to do. First one was a little bit of a preseason update, so now we're kind of catching up mid-season. First things first, we'll let you tell us about you and your podcast and what you do and how you're involved with Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah, no problem. So we launched CHGO Sports back in March of 2022. And that's based in Chicago, covering all of the pro sports teams out there. So it's Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox, Bears, Bulls, Red Stars, Fire, and the Chicago Sky as well. So just trying to get the whole landscape of pro sports in Chicago. And myself and Jay Zawoski and Greg Boyson have been the Blackhawks group, and yeah, it's been going well. It's been growing, and the Hawks have obviously gone through the rebuild and gotten Bedard, and kind of looked like they were going in a big upswing earlier this season. It's kind of tapered off now with injuries and whatnot, but it's been a lot of fun to cover the team the way that we've been able to do it the last couple of years, and be able to have access to the organization and talk to the many head coaches that they've had since we launched. I think when we launched, Derek King was the head coach of the Blackhawks, and then getting to know Luke Richardson, and then Andrew Sorensen, and now Jeff Blashill, who you guys are familiar with.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It's been fun to kind of to be around and see that, and then to go through the process of getting Connor Bedard and being able to be be there for the ends of the run of Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews has been an interesting experience. And yeah, I mean, it's having seen from, I guess, a fan perspective the glory days, and now seeing from a fan slash media perspective the rebuild days, it's gives you an appreciation for what you go through and what you experience when you're at the top. So it's been a lot of fun. Being able to do it with Jay and Greg has been a lot of fun too. Like they are awesome guys to work with. So it's I couldn't wish to do anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely fun covering the team you've loved your whole life, and just getting to talk to players and stuff. There's nothing like it. You can't explain it. But yeah, we've really been enjoying Patrick Kane at the end of his career up here.
Yeah,
Over in Detroit. It's been really fun. He's been injured a lot this year, but he's still got some juice left, man. He's best American-born player.
Yep. Still knows how to
still point per game pace.
That's
pretty good. Yeah. I mean, it's funny. You know, there's tons of conversation about, you know, Patrick Kane and his time in Chicago, how it ended, how, you know, he's been in Detroit and, you know, been kind of doing the 1 year deal year after year, and every off season it's just like, oh, maybe he'll come back and stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's been interesting, to put it delicately, seeing him continue to play the way that he has post surgery, and to be able to do it in Detroit and have it be, you know, still kind of ignites that rivalry that kind of laid dormant between the two teams for a while. But I think having Kane and DeBrincat there right now for me is just kind of like a little twist of that knife in the rivalry, which is a good thing. Like I want the Red Wings and Blackhawks to be, you know, a little bit more have a little bit more fire behind it than it has.
Yeah, it's been a good minute, and got to mention too, Jonathan Toews coming back on the ice. That's kind of wild as well. I know he's got quite a few games under his belt.
Yeah. The process that he went through to get back on the ice was incredible. Just to, you know, to read about what he went through and hear him talk about it, like I couldn't imagine going through that. But he was, you know, he was motivated to, you know, get every last bit of hockey out of his body, and he wasn't prepared to completely say goodbye, and came back, and he's, you know, playing with Winnipeg. And I think it's great to see that he's back. It is a little hard to kind of see him be like, it's definitely a shell of Jonathan Toews.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it was great to, you know, see him battle back, and he's got, as we're recording this now, his return to Chicago in a couple of days. So that's going to be a quite the night. And I know just a few days ago, him and Kane face off against each other for the first time as
that was cool to see.
NHL opponents. So that was one of those things where, like, I saw some pictures of them during warmups, you know, like posing and stuff, and I was just like, man, if you showed this picture to a Blackhawks fan 5 years ago, their head would have exploded.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, here we are, and you know, they'll get their days to be remembered as Blackhawks, like officially, once their playing days are over. But yeah, it still takes some getting used to seeing them in other uniforms.
Understandably so. So we kind of talk about your show, the CHGO podcast. How did you end up getting involved with Chicago? What was those, like, that first couple of years like? What was the journey from starting the basement, or so to speak?
Yeah, my personal journey started. You know, I've been a Blackhawks fan since I was a kid. You know, it wasn't their heyday, but you know, when I was about 9 years old, started to get into hockey and wanted to pick a team. And where I grew up in Wisconsin, we didn't have a pro hockey team, so the closest place to me was the Blackhawks in Chicago. And you know, got a jersey. And you know, one of the big things that got me into hockey actually was, you know, starting to ice skate more and play the game, but then I also got the some of the early NHL video games like 2001 and 2002 and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I would play the video games and learn the players, and then I'd watch them on TV, see all the highlights and stuff. So at the time, the Blackhawks weren't on TV locally, so that's how I was able to kind of catch them was when they would play other teams nationally and stuff. But that's where it started with me. And then when I was in school, in college, I went for broadcast journalism. Took the sports journalism angle because that's really all I cared about in life is sports. So I thought, let me try and make a career out of it since I can't play professionally. And when I got my first job out of college I did an internship, and then that turned into a job, was with a sports radio station in Milwaukee. And they, at the time, were the broadcast station for the Milwaukee Admirals. And so there was an opportunity for me to kind of cover hockey with the Milwaukee Admirals. And that's really where I got my start. And within, the broadcast world and the hockey world crossing over. So, I did that for a few years, having access to the team, going to games, writing about it. And then that eventually developed into writing about the Blackhawks a few years later. I did that from afar as, kind of a fan without access to the team for a number of sites. Blackhawk Up is where I got my start. Then I was with Second City Hockey for a bit. I did the rink as well. And then that transitioned to eventually doing it as a job where I got paid with Bleacher Nation Blackhawks. That was part of the Bleacher Nation network. They launched their Blackhawks coverage, and I was part of that. And then that eventually transitioned to getting an opportunity with CHGO. So it just over the years, took on more of a life of, treating it like a full-time job while I wasn't doing it for work. It was just more of a passion, and then eventually turned that into what I do now. So it's been a while that I've kind of been, I feel like, a little bit more than a fan, because I've, had different outlets to kind of talk about the team, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and thanks for kind of going deep with that, like the long building journey, and just to get up to where you are now, and it's a cool story. So
yeah, it's like some players, you got to see us start in the AHL, and work your way up, and sometimes it's an immediate call up, sometimes it's a couple of years, but yeah,
I hear you.
Yeah, you don't really think about how the AHL isn't just that next step for just the players. Like all the people around hockey too, they have to make it work their way right up to also. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. Well, a lot of people I know in in the hockey world that have similar paths of following ECHL teams and then getting opportunities with an AHL club, and then eventually now working with NHL teams and stuff, or covering NHL teams. It's not too dissimilar.
Yeah, absolutely.
So speaking of the AHL here, we'll kind of start talking about the Rockford Ice Hogs, who you've kind of been covering along with the Blackhawks, being their affiliated. So we'll kind of recap the start of the season here, get into kind of the matchup with the Griffins and the schedule between us.
The Griffins and the Ice Hogs play 10 times, and it's crazy.
I was just gonna say, you could put this up for basically any team you guys have played this year. You've lost what, twice, 3 times? Like it's been an impressive run to see what the Griffins have done. And I mean, the Ice Hogs, they've done their darndest. They're trying, but it's funny that the way the season started, you looked at the Ice Hogs roster and you're like, oh, okay, this is an exciting team, a lot of young guys, a lot of talent. And as the Blackhawks season has gone, they've kind of plucked a number of those guys away from the Ice Hogs. So it's kind of changed
one by one.
it's kind of changed how the season has gone. from start until now. But yeah, I mean, the Griffins have just been able to dominate pretty much every matchup.
Yeah, so I've noticed in like the past 3 years, the Griffins play the Ice Hogs kind of more than they play any other team. Like last year, we played them like 13 or 12 times or something crazy.
The year the Grand Rapids Griffins and the Rockford Ice Hogs met up in the playoffs, I think that year was like 18 matchups or something throughout the season.
That's
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that breeds rivalries, right? In the AHL,
sure
like
does.
you play guys 10, 12 times a year, you start to get sick of them by the end of the year. So it's I do like that about the AHL is like those rivalries actually feel, those matchups can get pretty nasty towards the end of the year. I know with the Ice Hogs, it's a lot of, they play the Chicago Wolves about 12 times a year. And those games are always super competitive. So it makes for fun games.
Absolutely. I'd like to see a little bit more of other teams. I mean, I know it's like a cost thing with travel. I mean, it's easier to just stick in your division.
Take the bus around.
I mean, I noticed it seems like usually you play every team in your division about 8 times, and then there's like the favorite, like the Ice Hogs and the Griffins who just love each other and they want to hate each other.
That's funny.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I feel like the league scheduling in the last few seasons, last 2 or 3 years, I feel like they've branched out a little bit more, especially as the league has kind of expanded more. You've seen, new matchups. I think, if I recall, last year might have been the first year that the Ice Hogs, I forget who it was, but they hosted a team for like the first time in like 20 years or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's, with the AHL and yeah, like you said, like the costs and everything, like it's kind of restricts you to how far you can go and how often you go. But yeah, it's been good that they've branched out. I mean, you get a bunch of teams in California now. Like, it's grown along with with the NHL.
Are the Rockford Ice Hogs getting any games like on the coast or either direction, playing anyone out of the blue?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're, tonight, actually, as we're recording this, they're playing the Hershey Bears, which is, not a team you see very often for the Ice Hogs. And I mean, that's like, one of the cornerstone AHL organizations. So it's fun to get matchups like that. It's fun to see them play like like the Marlies or
we played them this year.
Yeah, like it's fun to see those teams get matched up that you don't often get to play, and it's actually pretty fun that they're playing Hershey this year because I mentioned Derek. This is the second time I'll mention Derek King. He's coaching out there in Hershey now, so he's facing his former team. So it's fun to have that little matchup too.
Yeah, that's a fun one for sure. So
the Griffins and the Ice Hogs, they played 4 times so far, and Griffins have won all of them. But they, like you said, it's been a fight, definitely. Some of them. Crazy.
Yeah, some of them. Yeah, and what's fun with with the AHL is the rosters from game to game, matchup to matchup, they'll shift throughout the year. So I mean, like I said, like at the beginning of the year, Blackhawks were rolling out. You had Nick Lardis and Oliver Moore, and Ethan Del Mastro was around, and now all 3 of those guys are up in the NHL. So it changes the complexion. The Blackhawks or the Ice Hogs rather, have gone out and reacquired Rem Pitlick. Like he was an AHL veteran and a guy that was here before in Chicago and in Rockford, and it just things change up. And Laurent Brossoit is now playing some games for the Ice Hogs. So those matchups and those rosters will change. It's fun. It's a fun aspect of the AHL. So maybe it gives the Griffins a different look in their future matchups, and maybe it produces different results. I don't think it'll happen, but it could.
Yeah. Well, I know you kind of mentioned the coaching there a little bit, kind of take a look at your current coaching staff, you mentioned Derek King had left and went over to Hershey Bears and is returning. So,
Mm-hmm.
so now you got
Yeah.
Jared Nightingale. How's Jared Nightingale doing for you?
I think he's been doing good. I think it's always interesting stepping into, you know, a new position. I know he was with Rockford before, both as a player and a coach, but to step in and kind of take over as head coach is you know, it's a new challenge. But they've kept you know, some continuity with Nightingale, and Klinkhammer's been around for a bit as well. You know, on as an assistant, so that helps, and I think doing it alongside a NHL staff that's also new with Blashill and Vellucci and Michael Pekka, like that gives those guys from the AHL and NHL a little bit of, you know, camaraderie, in that, like, hey, we're all in kind of new positions
new
at the
staff,
same
new
time.
culture.
Yeah, and then
build from within at that point, you know.
yeah, and the messaging, you know, you kind of get on board right away. It's not you know, it's not anything where someone's trying to, you know, catch up to speed or fit in with like a new group, like from top down.
And then the teaching old dogs new tricks thing too. That's always
yeah, of course. Yeah. So I think, you know, you have a little bit of that top down, like everyone's pulling in the same direction kind of thing. So yeah, I think Nightingale's been doing a good job. And like I said, like you know, with the roster moves that they've made, the changes that they've made, a lot of his best players are gone. So you kind of just got to keep rolling with it. And I think, you know, they're hanging around right now. I think they're fifth in the division. So they're hovering in that spot, and you know, who knows how things will play out. You know, right now with Connor Bedard and Frank Nazar out, you got like I said, like Lardis is up here, Dominic Toninato is up here right now. So we'll see what might change with Nazar and Bedard coming back. I know Landon Slaggert might be a guy that finds his way back to the Ice Hogs once those guys are healthy. We'll see how things play out. But yeah, I mean, right now they're without a lot of young firepower, so you gotta find it from other spots.
Yeah, Nick Lardis was, I believe, top 5 in the AHL stats there until he took off to the Chicago Blackhawks. So
yeah, that's
a big loss.
Yeah, and that's kind of the moment where you really kind of need like your Bassini and your Cole Gutman for the Ice Hogs to step up and take that veteran role and lead the team through the hard times. And hopefully, you know, something happens, people get healthy, and maybe something at the trade deadline comes in and you get a better roster, or it makes it worse, and then you have to keep fighting.
Yeah, well, yeah, Brett Sini's been, I mean, he's been a tremendous leader for that group, a veteran guy that has, you know, as captain, really helped along a lot of these young guys. And then also on top of that, he can be a, you know, point per game kind of player. And they've missed him for the last little bit when he's with Team Canada for the Spengler Cup. I know Nolan Allen also went out there for from the Ice Hogs for Team Canada. So I mean, that's a really cool experience for those guys. So it'll be nice for the Ice Hogs to get those guys back into the lineup. But yeah, I mean, it's an opportunity for other players to step up. You got you know, a veteran like Joey Anderson, who's a guy that I think at the AHL level has been able to contribute and help out the Ice Hogs. You know, Samuel Savoie is a young guy that, you know, as a prospect, a lot of people got excited about, like, oh, here's another Andrew Shaw, and just really hasn't had the opportunity to come up to the NHL yet. But he's been a guy that has really grown at the AHL level, and he's had a lot of experience. And he's a guy that I think the Ice Hogs now, even though he's still 22 years old, I think, like, he's a guy that's looked at as like a leader amongst the locker room. And you got Kevin Korchinski still down there as well, like. He's a guy that feels just on that cusp of like figuring it out, but just hasn't had the opportunity to come up and make an impact in the NHL yet this season, and the Blackhawks defensive group really hasn't given him much of an opportunity to do it yet. The big move that they made was sending Sam Rinzel down, but they were running 11-7 for pretty much 95% of the year up until that point. And then with Rinzel down, they didn't need to shoehorn another seventh defenseman in there. So they've been going 12-6, and everyone's been, knock on wood, healthy. And everyone's been playing pretty much how you'd expect them to, especially amongst, the young guys like Kaiser and Levshinov and Vlasic still. So there really hasn't been an opportunity for Korchinski to come up and fill a role. So he's been down there in Rockford, and he's a guy that I think now, even though he's 21, he's an AHL veteran for being down there for now. This is his second full season.
And isn't he a first-round pick, if I'm not mistaken?
Korchinski was 7th overall in 2022.
Oh,
so
yeah, nice. Yeah.
High expectations for him.
For sure, yeah. And sometimes they need to sit in the AHL for a minute, Sometimes things just, that faster pace isn't ready. You can need it at that slower pace in the AHL, and you can hone it down and you learn what not works, and then you go up to the NHL and it's like, okay.
Yeah, I think it's a big thing on the minutes you get when you're in the AHL as a player like that, leading a team as the number one defenseman, just getting used to that role, kind of being able to sustain as the top player on the team as a defenseman is a huge deal for some of these younger players before they move up to the NHL, and they just either ready to get benched or play in third, fourth pairing or a second or third pairing. So
yeah, and for him specifically, we saw that his rookie year he got taken from the WHL and couldn't play in the AHL, so then he had to go and play his whole rookie year in Chicago, and for a 19-year-old defenseman, that's a tough assignment. And
it is.
You saw that first year last year that he got in Rockford, where it was pretty much the full season down there. His game seemed to grow a bit, and he seemed to kind of feel a little bit more comfortable. He was, in the All-Star game MVP. Those are good things that you want to see for a guy to kind of build back that confidence. And this year, I feel like there have been times where that confidence has been really high. And I do wonder if maybe that time when Rinzel went down, and maybe if he wasn't the corresponding move, I don't know if that affects him at all. But I feel like he's got to be a guy that's probably really itching for that opportunity to get back to the NHL and for a long enough period of time where you can kind of prove hey, I've learned a lot of lessons and grown a lot as a pro in the AHL, they've asked him to, and be able to kind of put that on display in the NHL.
So we can't forget about Drew Commesso down there.
Oh yeah,
that's the goaltender. He's kind of been the guy for them. It seemed, as watching games, I don't follow him too much, but it seems like he's always been the guy. Him and Kosa were about to fight one day. It was pretty funny. They're hugging each other.
Yeah, he's the guy that they turn to the most. And I mean, he's been really solid as an AHL guy, and he's got progressively better every year. It's really all that you could ask of a goalie that's just starting out his pro career. And he was a second round pick, really successful NCAA career, and a lot of people just kind of, for the Blackhawks, as far as looking at the rebuild and stuff, kind of pegged him as okay, this will be the guy that'll probably be the starter in a few years, and will be the guy we'll figure out, is he a full-time NHL starter, is he a guy that you can lean on to kind of be the guy. And he was trending in the right direction, and then they go and get Spencer Knight, and it's just oh, okay, well, there's your guy, there's your number one starter, there's your franchise guy, and Spencer Knight's been that guy since he's been here. So with Commesso, again, he's kind of waiting for that opportunity to get up to the NHL for an extended period of time, and just hasn't had it yet. And you had Arvid Soderblom get an opportunity with the Blackhawks, and had a good season for his standards last year, and then now this year it's kind of like, oh, he's going back to the guy he used to be. And you think like, oh, maybe that opens the door for Drew Commesso. Well, now Laurent Brossoit, who was gone for 18 months, is back, and he's been, getting some time in Rockford as well. So you don't know if, he's still could get a shot in Chicago. We'll see, but it still does feel like, I know he's on an expiring contract right now, but he'll need a new one in the summer. But it still does feel like Drew Commesso is in the Blackhawks' plans for, being in the NHL and being a guy that they lean on. But now it definitely seems like with the timeline of Spencer Knight, it's going to be in a backup role. But I think for Drew Commesso, if you can get up to the NHL and be a reliable, consistent backup behind a guy who in Spencer Knight, you think you can play 50, 55 games a year, good teams obviously need a good tandem in net. So I think Commesso definitely is still part of that equation for the Blackhawks. And, his numbers in Rockford have been, pretty solid. Like he's got like a 915, 914 like career save percentage over the last 3 seasons. Like it's pretty good. Like it's I think that the organization likes him. I think he's got the right mentality for a goaltender. Like he's a really self-confident, focused guy. So I think it's just a matter of time for him to get his opportunity. And I know Brossoit is on an expiring deal. He might be moved at the deadline. Who knows? We'll see. And Soderblom, I know, has 2 this year and next year left. But again, like his play hasn't really warranted him to be like, etched into stone that he's the backup, So we'll see.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, he's always a pain in the Griffins skin when they play. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Big time.
Alrighty. So I think last thing I want to go over with the roster here probably be just the team captains. I know we mentioned Brett Seney a little bit, but maybe mention some of the assistant captains that got nominated this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, again, with the rotating roster, some guys are coming in and out, but guys we mentioned before that have worn letters recently this year have been Savoie and Kevin Korchinski as well. And again, like those guys are young players that have been here for a number of years. And as the Blackhawks continue to use the Ice Hogs as a development ground, like over time, those young guys that once were, okay, these are top prospects. These are, guys that we're going to develop in the AHL and see what they can, if and when they can become NHL contributors. Those guys are still around, and those guys are going to be the veteran leaders as rosters turn over. So you look at a Korchinski and you look at Savoie and the personalities that they have, the roles that they've played, like that's going to be valuable experience for when the next group of young guys come through. Looking at where the Blackhawks are at right now with some of their prospects who are on the cusp of turning pro. I mean, you're talking about a guy like AJ Spellacy. You're talking about a guy like Sasha Boisvert. Even potentially, Anton Frondel. Like those are going to be guys that when they turn pro, they might have some AHL time ahead of them. So if you have players that have been in that position before where they've been, high picks, or guys that have been, players that have had high expectations of them, if you have them there in Rockford, you can kind of allow them to give a little bit of advice of like, here's how you can handle things, here's what to expect, these are some challenges that you're going to face. Like having those guys that have gone through that experience is really important. And then of course you got to mix it in with guys that are veterans, and Seney's been a great captain for them, and they've kept around Joey Anderson for that kind of same deal, and Kevin Fitzgerald as well. Like that's another guy that like doesn't really have a future in the NHL, but someone who's been around the AHL and can kind of give a lot of that experience and that guidance and just those lessons of like, this is the expectation of a professional hockey player at the AHL level. And then when things get more challenging at the NHL level, you're going to have guys that have gone through the AHL before as well, that are going to be there and be able to kind of be like, okay, well, this is how you did it then. This is the next step of what to expect now that you're in the NHL.
Yeah. I believe you too. The whole captaincy thing, the wearing the letter on the jersey. A lot of the time in the AHL, they're just looking for someone that maybe not necessarily plays the best game on the ice, but the best game off the ice. And I think that's something they bring. Everyone that wears a letter in the AHL brings that off the ice mentality to the table.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty much wraps it up for the roster. So we'll kind of get into a little bit of like predictions. So how do you think the Ice Hogs are going to finish out this year?
Well, I mean, they're right now, they're in that, playoff play-in position that they've been the last few years. So it's not unfamiliar territory for some of these guys that have been around for the last few years. And, the Blackhawks operate, the Ice Hogs as a development ground. For a number of years, it was kind of just where their non-NHL players got stashed. And they didn't really have like a lot of like guys that they were investing a ton of like development time into. That's really changed in the last number of years as they've gone through like this rebuild process. And, the roster has been usually made up more of a lot of like younger guys. So to play those meaningful games and to chase the playoffs has been really important as those guys have graduated up to the NHL. But like I mentioned right now, like with the injuries that the Blackhawks have gone through and where they're at in the season and in the rebuild mindset, like they're playing a lot of the young guys that were expected to go to Rockford and be contributors. You got Oliver Moore, like I mentioned, Nick Lardis is up now. Even a guy like Ryan Green, he was on his way to Rockford when he got the call to be like, oh, actually turn around and go back because we need you in Chicago. And he hasn't looked back. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see as the Blackhawks get healthier with Frank Nazar and Connor Bedard currently out. Like I mentioned before, like I think, when those two guys come back, given the way that Nick Lardis has played, I think you're probably looking at definitely Dominic Toninato returning to the Ice Hogs, and that gives them a boost. And then maybe it's Landon Slaggert, or maybe they do send Nick Lardis back. I would be surprised if they do, but maybe that's an option on the table because of where you might end up playing him. But to be honest, like if at the end of January you get Bedard and Nazar back, and you have to make a decision between, okay, do we send Nick Lardis down or Landon Slaggert down? I think you keep Nick Lardis around until the Olympic break, and then you can send him down, and then you bring him back, because when you come back from the Olympics, you have basically like a week and a half until the trade deadline, and they're probably going to trade one or two forwards. So why not keep him around and just, he'll find his role again, in the NHL where it might be top 9, top 6, whatever it is right now this season. I feel like it would be a lot to fully send him down and then wait for him to have to come back, but we'll see what they do. But with the return of those two guys, like, if it's Slaggert or Lardis and then Toninato, like that helps the Ice Hogs for sure. So I would like to think that, they can continue to hover around that 5th and 4th spot. Hopefully it's the 4th spot so that they don't have to go on the road for what is the play-in series. They can host it. But I think that's probably where they're going to be at. And, goaltending wise, like you have Comezzo, you have Brossoit for the time being. And even, this player that they signed in the offseason, Stanislav Berezhnoi, nobody had any, real idea or really, what he might bring to the table. Young guy coming out of Russia, and he's been pretty solid for them. I think for having almost no expectations at all, he's been playing pretty well. So still, Comezzo is the guy that they're gonna lean on the most. And I think once you get some of those those guys back, like a Lardis or a Slaggert or Toninato, like that helps the forwards group and the lineup kind of fall into place where it needs to. And then, you get Nolan Allen back from the Spengler Cup. That helps the defense as well. You have Ethan Del Mastro right now up in Chicago, but he's literally just sitting in the press box every game. I don't know how much longer they want him to just do that, or if they're going to, maybe they do give Kevin Kuczynski an opportunity to come up and get in the lineup. If you're not going to play Del Mastro, like maybe bring up somebody who you could play, like, who knows? Sure. But I think eventually, like, he probably goes back and that helps the defense, but I don't know at what point you do that. But you have Korchinski, you have Renzel, like those are some offensive guys that, again, like you want to see them make sure that they can play at both ends of the ice responsibly, but offensively, like they can generate.
Yeah.
All righty. Anything else, Connor? Do you have anything else, Mario?
Do you have anything else, man?
No. I'm just I'm thanks for having me on. It's a lot of fun to kind of just open up and talk about the Ice Hogs. That's a team and organization that helped me get my foot in the door of the hockey world, and I've had a ton of fun covering the Ice Hogs over the years, and it's gonna be really fun in about a month when Rockford hosts the AHL All-Star game. The All-Star weekend will be a lot of fun. They just got new digital video boards, dasher boards put in the rink at the BMO, so that'll be cool to see in person and see how they utilize that for the All-Star weekend festivities. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think the CHGO crew is gonna be out there for those 2 days. So
awesome.
We'll see what we got planned, but yeah, it's gonna be a good time, and hopefully we're talking about playoff hockey for at least one of the Blackhawks affiliates this year, and hopefully it's Rockford. Most likely it'll be Rockford.
Yeah, as long as they don't let Texas or the Iowa Wild catch them. Iowa's pretty far down there. I don't think they'll catch them, but it's hockey. You never know, man. It's a lot to play. There's a lot to play left. Next thing you know, exactly. The Griffins will be in last and Iowa will be in first.
Don't use it for yourselves.
That would be something. Well, sure. In the event the Rockford Ice Hogs make the play, and we so happen to meet you there, be glad to get you back on here and talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Anytime.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you very much for coming on. You want to drop any of your socials or anything real quick?
Yeah, sure. You can follow me online on Twitter at Mario_Tirabassi, and you can follow all of the CHGO Blackhawks content. We're at allcity.com is the website, and then CHGO_Blackhawks is the Twitter account. And again, we're under the CHGO Sports banner with the All City Network. So do 5 podcasts a week all year, in season and off season, pre-games, post-games, off-day shows. We're at practices. We're in the locker room. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of good times to be had, even if the hockey is not always victorious.
Yeah, eat, sleep, breathe hockey, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, man, that is awesome, and it's very impressive to get that many shows out a week.
Yeah, we do like one.
We do our best to get our one a week out.
Yeah. I mean, in the summer, there are some times when you have to get pretty creative with what you're going to talk about, but but yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like I said before, like I couldn't imagine doing anything else. So,
well, thank you so much again, Mario. We appreciate you coming back and doing this a second time for us. So, wish the Rockford Ice Hogs and the Chicago Blackhawks luck. And like you said, maybe we'll catch one of them in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would look forward to that.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. You have a good day.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, you guys too. Thanks.
Mario, it's a great time talking about AHL, the Rockford Ice Hogs, and how the season has gone for the Blackhawks and Rockford.
Yeah, great talking to Mario. Fun time. Cool to see a lot of different aspects around the league and seeing how like injuries affect another team, like the Blackhawks having all these injuries, and originally us starting the season thinking that the Ice Hogs were going to be our biggest contender this year, and injuries really affected that. And at that point, who cares about the AHL team? You know, call up all the guys and keep the NHL team alive. So it's cool to see it, but Mario will have a lot of fun hockey to watch here in the future for sure, having all these prospects, and it'll be a good time. So it was really cool to talk to him.
Yeah, and like we said, hopefully we catch you in the playoffs. That should get us wrapped up for this episode. Stay in touch with the Griffins Pipeline podcast. Don't forget you can call into the show. Our number is 616-319-1175. So call in, leave a voicemail, tell us how you feel about the Griffins, what's going on, give us your opinions. Love to hear the fan opinions. That's why we do this show. So,
and if it's a good enough call, you might win yourself some tickets or a hat trick hat.
So thanks for supporting us. Go ahead, go follow Mario Tirabassi's show, the CHGO Blackhawks podcast, and we'll catch you on the next one. Go Griffins.
Go Griffins.
Thank you for listening to the Griffins Pipeline podcast. If you enjoyed the show, give us a 5-star review. We are part of the Hockey Podcast Network. We are not partnered with the Grand Rapids Griffins, Detroit Red Wings, or Toledo Walleye. We are not experts. We are just die-hard fans looking to make a community with others alike. Let's go Griffins Nation. Join the fun, like and follow us on Facebook and X, or call into the show and have your opinion heard. 1-616-319-1175. Thank you. Grand Rapids Griffins, Toledo Walleye, and Detroit Red Wings. Players, coaches, websites, and social media. Thank you AHL.com, NHL.com, ETL.com, EliteProspects.com, and anyone else putting out information on the teams. Until next time, go Griffins. Go Red Wings, go Walleye.